Many of us live our days under the heavy shadow of expectations. From the time we are young, we hear voices telling us who we should be, what we should do, and how we should succeed. These voices may come from family, society, or even from within ourselves. They can sound loud and demanding, pushing us to move faster, to achieve more, to always prove our worth. This weight can become so familiar that we no longer notice how much it presses on our hearts. We wake up with it, we carry it through our work, and we bring it home at night. It shapes the way we see ourselves. If we meet the standards, we feel proud for a moment. If we fail, we feel crushed and unworthy. Life becomes a race with no true finish line, and we are left tired and unsatisfied. But is this really the purpose of our life? Were we born only to fulfill the demands of others, or the endless comparisons in our minds? Deep inside, there is a quiet question asking whether this pressure is the same as true purpose. That question may arise in still moments, when the noise of the world fades. It may come to us when we realize that success alone cannot bring peace, and that pressure does not lead to joy. To live with purpose, we must first see the weight we are carrying. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. When we notice the heavy burden of expectation, we create space for something new. In that space, life can be lived with more honesty and more gentleness, not as a constant struggle, but as a path to meaning. When the noise of the outside world becomes too loud, there is still a soft voice within us. It does not shout or demand. It does not measure us by trophies or titles. Instead, it whispers gently, asking us to listen. This is the call of inner purpose. It often goes unnoticed because it is quiet, and our lives are filled with so much distraction. Yet when we pay attention, it can guide us more clearly than any outside demand ever could. Inner purpose is not about being perfect. It is not about becoming someone else. It is about living in a way that feels true to who we are. It is about small choices that reflect honesty, kindness, and steadiness. Sometimes it can be as simple as taking time to breathe deeply, or as natural as sharing a smile with a stranger. When we follow this quiet call, we feel a sense of connection that no achievement can replace. This kind of purpose cannot be given to us by society. It cannot be taken away by failure. It does not rise and fall with the opinions of others. It is steady, like a river flowing beneath the surface. Even when life feels confusing, the river is still there. Our task is to notice it, trust it, and allow it to guide us step by step. Living with this inner purpose brings a deep kind of peace. We no longer chase approval in every direction. We no longer feel trapped by pressure. Instead, we live in harmony with what feels real and meaningful. The quiet call is always present, waiting for us to hear it and follow it with courage. So much of our suffering comes from comparing ourselves with others. We look at what people achieve, what they own, or how they appear, and then we measure our own worth against theirs. These external measures become a ruler that we press against our lives, asking, "Am I enough?" But such comparisons never bring real satisfaction. They only create more hunger, more pressure, and more doubt. The truth is that every person walks a unique path. No two journeys are the same, and no two lives can be measured by the same scale. A flower does not compare itself with the tree beside it. The flower simply blooms in its own way, at its own time. If we try to judge a flower by the height of the tree, we miss its beauty completely. In the same way, when we measure ourselves only by what others achieve, we lose sight of our own worth. Freedom begins when we stop letting these outside standards define us. It is not that success or recognition are bad, but they are not the foundation of true value. Real freedom comes when we understand that our life has meaning simply because it is our life. We are not here to live another person's story. We are here to live our own. When we release the need to constantly compare, we find space to breathe. The pressure softens, and our steps become lighter. We begin to see that life is not a contest, but a journey of expression. Our value is not in how we match another's measure, but in how honestly we live our own truth. This is the freedom that allows us to move through the world with peace. It is easy to move through life as if each day were only a step toward tomorrow. We hurry through the morning, we work through the afternoon, and we fall asleep thinking of what still needs to be done. In this rush, we forget that today itself is precious. Each sunrise is not simply the beginning of another busy schedule. It is a gift, offered to us without condition. When we see each day in this way, life begins to change. The small details that once felt unimportant reveal their quiet beauty. The sound of birds in the early light, the warmth of a cup of tea, the smile of a loved one. These are not small things at all. They are moments of life itself, reminders that being alive is already a blessing. Living each day as a gift does not mean ignoring our responsibilities. It does not mean refusing to plan for the future. It means holding a different attitude as we move through time. Instead of carrying only the weight of tasks and worries, we also carry a sense of wonder and gratitude. We remember that nothing is guaranteed, and that makes the present moment even more valuable. When we treat each day as a gift, pressure loses much of its power. The race to be more, to do more, begins to fade. We no longer chase life as if it were always out of reach. Instead, we live fully in the day we have been given. With this shift, even ordinary experiences can shine with deep meaning. Life is no longer just a list of duties, but a series of gifts waiting to be seen. We often think of strength as something loud, forceful, or unshakable. But there is another kind of strength, one that is quiet, yet deeply powerful. It is the strength of gentle presence. This is not about controlling others or forcing outcomes. It is about being fully here, steady and calm, in each moment of life. Gentle presence is felt when someone listens with their whole heart. It is seen when a person moves slowly and with care, even in a world that rushes. It shows itself in patience, in kindness, and in the ability to remain calm when others lose their balance. This kind of strength does not need recognition. It shines naturally, like the soft glow of a candle in the dark. Living with gentle presence changes the way we experience pressure. Instead of reacting quickly to every demand, we pause, we breathe, we respond with care rather than hurry. This does not make life easier in every way, but it does bring a deep sense of stability. In a storm, a tree with deep roots bends without breaking. In the same way, gentle presence allows us to meet challenges without being crushed by them. This strength is available to everyone. It does not require wealth, status, or special training. It grows when we slow down, when we pay attention, and when we allow ourselves to simply be. Over time, it becomes a steady ground on which we can stand, even when the world feels uncertain. Gentle presence is not weakness. It is a strength that protects peace, both in ourselves and in those around us. To live with this presence is to carry a quiet power that no pressure can take away. In many parts of the world, we are taught that achievement is the center of life. From early years, we are asked about goals, progress, and results. We are praised when we succeed, and we are questioned when we fall short. Over time, it is easy to believe that achievement alone gives life meaning. Yet when we look deeper, we see that this belief leaves something missing. Achievement can bring joy, but it is only temporary. A prize, a title, or a completed task may give us a moment of satisfaction, but soon the mind asks, what next? This endless cycle of reaching for the next success can make life feel like a ladder with no top. We climb higher and higher, but peace is always just out of reach. Purpose is not the same as achievement. Purpose is found in how we live, not only in what we accomplish. It shows in the way we care for others, the way we act with honesty, and the way we bring light into ordinary situations. Purpose can be present in the simplest actions, such as offering comfort to a friend or treating each moment with respect. When we place achievement above all else, life becomes narrow. But when we open ourselves to a broader sense of purpose, life becomes wide and full. We no longer chase meaning outside of ourselves. We live it directly through the way we choose to be. This shift does not remove ambition, but it places it in its proper place, as a tool rather than a master. Living with purpose beyond achievement frees us from constant pressure. It allows us to see that our value does not depend on the next success. It is already present in how we live today. Life often feels unpredictable. We make plans, yet things rarely happen exactly as we expect. Sometimes, the path ahead seems clear, but then it changes without warning. In these moments, pressure grows. We want to control everything, to shape life perfectly according to our wishes. But no matter how hard we try, the world moves in its own rhythm. Trusting the flow of life does not mean giving up or refusing to act. It means recognizing that we are part of something larger than our own plans. Just as rivers twist and turn on their way to the sea, our lives also move through unexpected curves. The water does not argue with the rocks in its path. It moves around them, steady and sure. In the same way, when we learn to trust life's flow, we stop fighting against what we cannot control. This trust gives us freedom. We no longer measure every event as a success or a failure. Instead, we see each moment as part of a larger journey. Even difficulties carry lessons, and even delays may guide us to places we did not imagine. With trust, the pressure to force outcomes begins to soften. We can act with care, but without fear. When we allow life to flow, we open ourselves to peace. We find strength in flexibility and courage in patience. We understand that we do not need to hold the world in our hands. Life itself carries us forward, just as the river carries the leaf upon its surface. To trust this flow is to rest in a deeper wisdom, one that supports us more gently than pressure ever could. In our modern world, effort is often praised above everything else. We are told to work harder, push further, and never stop moving. Rest, on the other hand, is sometimes seen as weakness or laziness. Yet life cannot be healthy or meaningful without balance. Just as the day is followed by night, effort must be followed by rest. Effort gives life direction. It allows us to grow, to create, and to meet the needs of each day. But if effort never pauses, it turns into exhaustion. A bow that is always pulled tight will lose its strength and finally break. The same is true for our bodies and our hearts. Without rest, we cannot continue with clarity or purpose. Rest is not simply the absence of work. It is a time when the body heals and the mind clears. In stillness, we can see more deeply into ourselves and into life. Rest allows us to return to effort with renewed energy and with a calmer spirit. Far from being a sign of weakness, true rest is a form of wisdom. Balance comes when we respect both sides. Too much effort leads to burnout, while too much rest leads to stagnation. Together, they create harmony, like the inhale and exhale of breathing. Neither can exist without the other. When we learn to honor this rhythm, we live with greater steadiness and less pressure. Living with balance means knowing when to act and when to pause. It means trusting that rest is not wasted time, but a necessary part of living fully. In this balance, we discover that purpose is not found in endless effort, but in a life that moves with both strength and gentleness. Many people believe that happiness comes from having more possessions, more success, more recognition. But often, the more we collect, the heavier life feels. Our schedules fill, our homes overflow, and our minds become crowded with endless desires. In this way, the search for more creates pressure instead of peace. Simplicity offers another path. It is not about denying ourselves or living without joy. It is about seeing clearly what is truly important and letting go of what is not. When we choose simplicity, life becomes lighter. We begin to notice the quiet beauty already present around us, beauty that is often hidden beneath layers of noise and distraction. A simple meal shared with sincerity can be more nourishing than a feast eaten in hurry. A walk under the open sky can refresh the heart more deeply than expensive entertainment. Even silence itself, when accepted with ease, can become a source of comfort and strength. These simple things remind us that purpose is not found in endless addition, but in living with clarity. Simplicity also brings freedom. Without the constant chase for more, we discover time and space for what truly matters: relationships, reflection, and genuine presence. We no longer measure our days by how much we gain, but by how fully we live them. In this freedom, the pressure to prove ourselves begins to fade. The beauty of simplicity is not something far away. It is already here, waiting for us to see it. When we live simply, life itself shines more brightly. Each moment becomes enough, not because it is grand or extraordinary, but because it is real. In this way, simplicity opens the door to a life of deeper peace and purpose. Within each of us, there is a gentle voice that speaks quietly. It does not command or argue. It simply whispers, often beneath the noise of our busy thoughts and daily worries. This voice is the heart's whisper, and though it is soft, it carries great wisdom. Many times we ignore it. We choose instead to follow the louder voices around us, the opinions of others, the demands of society, or the endless chatter of our own fears. Yet when we silence the outside noise, even for a moment, the whisper of the heart becomes clearer. It may guide us toward honesty, kindness, or a path that feels more true. The heart's whisper does not promise a life without challenges. It does not guarantee success in the eyes of the world, but it leads us toward what is genuine. When we listen, we begin to live in alignment with who we really are, not just who we are told to be. This kind of alignment brings a quiet strength, one that pressure cannot easily disturb. Sometimes, the heart speaks through feelings more than words, a sense of peace when we are on the right path, or unease when we are moving against our truth. By paying attention to these signals, we learn to trust the gentle wisdom within. Listening to the heart's whisper takes patience. It requires us to pause, to soften, and to allow space for silence. Yet the more we practice, the more natural it becomes. In following this whisper, we discover a life that is not driven only by pressure, but shaped by inner clarity. It is a life where each step feels more real, more meaningful, and more our own. In times of pressure, we often feel the urge to rush. We believe that moving faster will bring us closer to peace, but in truth, rushing only adds to the burden. The path of life is long, and it cannot be travelled all at once. What matters is not speed, but steadiness. Walking with steady steps means choosing consistency over haste. It is like climbing a mountain. If we run too quickly, we lose our breath and must stop often. But if we take calm, steady steps, we reach the top with strength still in our bodies. Life is the same. Small, steady efforts carry us further than bursts of restless energy. Steadiness also protects us from the weight of comparison. When we rush, it is usually because we are looking at others, how fast they move, how much they achieve. But steady steps keep our eyes on our own path. We begin to see that our journey is not about being ahead or behind, but about being true to ourselves in each moment. This way of walking gives us balance. We act when it is time to act, and we pause when it is time to pause. The pressure to prove ourselves lessens because we are no longer racing toward an invisible finish line. Instead, we are simply living the journey, one step at a time. Walking with steady steps may seem ordinary, but it brings extraordinary peace. It shows us that life does not need to be hurried to be meaningful. With steadiness, each step becomes part of a greater purpose, and the path itself becomes a place of quiet fulfillment. One of the greatest pressures in life comes from the feeling that we are never enough. We tell ourselves we must be more successful, more skilled, more respected. No matter what we achieve, the voice of doubt returns, whispering that it is still not enough. This endless chase leaves us weary, always reaching, but never at rest. Yet there is another way. Peace comes when we realize that our worth is not something to be earned again and again. It is already within us. Simply by being alive, we carry value. We do not need to climb to the highest place or collect endless rewards to prove our existence. Life itself is proof that we are already enough. This does not mean we stop growing or caring. It does not mean we give up on effort or dreams. It means we no longer tie our value to constant achievement. We work and create because it brings meaning, not because it decides our worth. In this shift, the pressure softens. Each action becomes lighter, because it is no longer a desperate attempt to prove ourselves. The peace of being enough can be felt in small ways. It comes when we accept our mistakes without shame. It comes when we look in the mirror and see not only what is missing, but also what is present. It comes when we rest without guilt, knowing that rest does not make us less. When we live with this peace, life feels more whole. We are no longer running from the fear of failure, but walking with the quiet confidence that being ourselves is already sufficient. In this space, true purpose can finally bloom, free from the weight of endless pressure. When we look back at our days, it is not the moments of pressure that shine most brightly. It is the moments when we lived with meaning. Purpose shapes life in a way that pressure never can. Pressure pushes us from the outside, but purpose grows from within. It does not demand perfection, and it does not vanish when we fall short. Instead, it guides us gently, reminding us of what truly matters. A life shaped by purpose is not always grand or dramatic. It may be as simple as offering kindness each day, or choosing honesty even when it is difficult. These choices may seem small, but together they form the pattern of our life. Like threads in a fabric, they weave a story that is steady, clear, and strong. Purpose allows us to meet challenges with courage. When difficulties come, pressure often makes us panic or despair, but purpose gives us direction, like a lantern on a dark path. Even if we cannot see the whole road, we can take the next step with trust. In this way, purpose becomes a steady companion, not only in success, but also in struggle. Living with purpose also frees us from endless comparison. We no longer need to measure ourselves against others, because our value is not in being better or faster. It is in living true to the purpose that is ours alone. This brings dignity and peace, no matter what stage of life we are in. When purpose shapes our days, life feels whole. We are not pulled only by pressure or fear, but guided by meaning. In the end, such a life is not only lighter, but also more deeply fulfilling, because it reflects the truth of who we are. As we reach the end of these reflections, I invite you to pause for a moment. Think about the journey we have walked together through these words. We have looked at the weight of pressure, the call of inner purpose, the freedom of simplicity, and the peace of being enough. Each part has been a reminder that life is not only about how much we achieve, but about how deeply we live. Purpose is not something far away or hidden in a distant future. It is present in the way we breathe, in the way we speak, and in the way we meet each day. It does not demand perfection or constant success. Instead, it asks for honesty, patience, and gentleness. When we live in this way, life becomes lighter. The pressure that once felt heavy begins to fade, and we discover that purpose itself is already within us. No matter where you are in your own journey, know that each step holds meaning. Whether the path feels clear or uncertain, purpose is there, quietly guiding you. Trusting this truth allows us to walk forward with peace, without the constant burden of proving ourselves. Before I close, I want to offer my heartfelt gratitude to those who watch, who share kind comments, who give likes, who subscribe, who offer super thanks, and who join as members. You are deeply appreciated. Your support allows these reflections to continue and to reach those who may need them. I am grateful for your presence and your kindness. May your days be shaped not by pressure, but by the quiet strength of purpose. And may each moment remind you that your life, just as it is, already carries great meaning.